politics in the United States of America. The left has gotten really left, and the right has gotten really right. Everyone's towing the line, and we're getting nowhere. Fast. This is the Rational American. The Rational American. Common sense has gone out the window, and our passion is to open eyes in hopes that people will take a rational look at what America is actually becoming. Put your feelings aside and let's get real. This is the Rational American, and this is your host, Steve Oatley.
Well, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the show. It's early and I'm live everywhere on social media, and I know you're probably confused. You're probably like, Steve, why are you live so early? Well, I woke up this morning and it was going to be every other hump day. That's what I figured, right? I was wrong. Well, I got to work bright and early. I was sitting here working. I started making all my Wake Up America show, the news show. I got about 6 minutes recorded before my phone started going off. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on? Well, it turns out the little guy woke up. And I got to give a little bit of background. So my family, for whatever reason, we are plagued with bad teeth, right? So my teeth are no good. Half of them are fake and all that stuff, and crowns and bridges and all sorts of other stuff. My older boy's teeth, they kind of came in crooked, so he's got Invisalign in now. My wife's teeth, she has some issues, so she has Invisalign in now as well. And the little guy, he has about $5,000 worth of dental work that is done, or well, several thousand already, but $5,000 more that's all lined up and scheduled to essentially fix things per quadrant, per level of importance, whatever. So a couple of weeks ago, I took him to the dentist because my wife can't take him because she passes out if she sees him bleeding. Now, she has no issues with blood. It's just seeing him bleed. If she sees him bleed, well, she passes out. And it's something that happens, apparently, whatever. And so she can't take him. So I take him to the dentist. A couple of weeks ago, we took him to the dentist, and it was fine, right? He got the nitrous, the dentist, the specialty, we took him to a specialty place. Super nice. They like, the kid didn't mess up at all. They took out one tooth. Well, I think they took out 2 teeth, put a spacer in between them, something like that. And keep in mind, these are baby teeth as well. So, and I know what it is because he's addicted to fruit. So he eats grapes like 5 million times a day. And apparently that's really, really bad for your teeth. It's not like we give him high sugar and stuff because the kid's already hyper as hell anyway. So that's not the case. All right. So fast forward this morning. So now he's on this treatment plan where essentially every month we go and we, our insurance, we've already ran it out. So we're paying about $1,000 a month to have his baby teeth fixed, even though they're going to fall out eventually. I don't know how that works or why we have to do it, but whatever. This morning he wakes up. Right. And for the past couple of days, he's been like complaining, lighthearted complaining about dental teeth or dental pain. Right. So one day, like he's crying. He's like, oh, my face hurts. And then he forgets about it and he's fine. Right. And then he'd be like, yesterday we were at the football game. Go Huskies. We're at the football game and he's drinking a Powerade and he's like, oh, it hurt my tooth. But then he was fine. And so I knew he had something going on. But I'll be honest, I was trying to wait until the insurance not renews, but you know how the max benefit renews every single year? That starts on October 1st. So I'm like, come on, kid, hold out for 2 more weeks because you save us like $1,000, right? Apparently his teeth couldn't. So this morning he woke up and the right side of his face, so he had the work down below. The next quadrant they were doing was the left upper because that had teeth that they figured were going to go bad. This morning he woke up and his face was just, and I'll tell you something, about me that you may not know. For one, this kid is like got a special spot in my heart. He's one of the him sort of is the reason that I don't work in the fire service anymore. Not him directly because of the little baby that died that looked like him. So whenever I see him in pain or paper cuts or anything, I kind of freak out, right? So, it ticked me off because his face swelled up. So I'm like, okay. And as someone that's had a massive amount of dental work myself, and knowing that, abscesses and things like that are nothing to F with, I didn't mess around, right? So he wasn't having any pain. So I'm like, that's good. Hold on. He wasn't having any pain. Sorry. How do you spell ibuprofen? Well, Motrin is ibuprofen, right? Yeah, it is. Motrin now. Motrin. Fuck, it said nothing. Motrin. Damn, spell check. And then script before bed. Tylenol if in pain. There. All right. So I gotta relay it to my wife. So long story short, I knew it was gonna fall on me that I would have to take him to the dentist, but he wasn't in any pain. His face was quite swollen, but it was swollen. You could tell he had something going on. But he seemed fine, right? So I'm like, okay, send him to school. I'm already at the office. I'm like, send him to school. And then I'll call the doctor when they open up at 8:00, and then we'll go. So the doctor immediately, and great, I'm not saying who they are because I don't want, anybody to be mean to him or anything like that. Great dentist here in Winchester. I call them at 7:57. They're like, yeah, we have a 9:30 opening. I'm like, he'll be there. I left work, drove to the school, picked him up, had to stop because I had the rental car. So I didn't have a car seat in my car. So I have to go and get that, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, I get him there right at like 9:29, right? And then he's like, Dad, what? And I'm like, what? And I got to wear a mask in the dentist office because that's their requirement. And again, like I said, medically, I don't care about wearing a mask. I have no problem. I would rather wear a mask in a medical environment than not. But he's like, Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, what? You just got to take a leak? And he's like, no. And so we go into the bathroom, very clean bathrooms, and then he decides he doesn't have to poo anymore. And now he only has to go pee, whatever. And then he can't figure out how to flush. And he's like touching everything. And I'm like, dude, wash the shit out of your hands now. Long story short. So we get him in there, right? He's seen by the little girl that doesn't know much about dental work at all. She's sitting there asking. She's like, so the pain's the upper left, right? And I'm like, look at his fucking face. His face is all swollen out on the right-hand side. So obviously it's on the right, but whatever. But she didn't really know much. She said, I'm going to go and talk to the doctor. The doctor ordered x-rays. She messed up on the first set of x-rays. If you've ever tried to put the little thing in the kid's mouth and all that stuff, even me as an adult makes me gag and all that. But my kid did well. She messed up on the first one. They had to do second ones. They ended up bringing backup on the second one. Then this doctor comes over, and it's a different dentist than we've seen before. And she's looking at the x-rays, and she turns a monitor towards me, and she's like, okay, so he's got like a cellulitis abscess or something like that. It's different than a normal one because where a normal abscess basically stays in pocket. That's why it's super painful, right? It stays in pocket. This doesn't. Because of where it is, it's apparently leaking out somewhere into his gums or something like that. But it's causing his face to swell up quite a bit more than what you would if you had a small little abscess. But he's not in any pain, luckily, because it is draining into, his blood system or whatever like that. So she's like, this is a medical emergency. He needs to go to have surgery on his mouth. And we don't do that here, so we're going to refer you to an oral surgeon. This is urgent, though. They must give antibiotics through IV because it's not going to work any other way. And so they're going to have to put him out and do surgery and all that stuff. And I'm like, what? What? I'm someone that's had teeth pulled without medical stuff, without Novocaine. I've had abscess. I had one on the roof of my mouth one time from an infected tooth where the dentist didn't believe that Novocaine doesn't work on me and morphine doesn't either. He loaded me up with Novocaine, and I'm like, I feel it all. He's like, you don't feel it. You're going to be fine. And he cut the roof of my mouth open, and I nearly killed him. Like, no joke. It was pretty bad, and then I had a blood infection. I was in the hospital for several days because of that abscess. So abscess for me, I don't mess around with them at all, right? Especially dental abscesses. But she had me freaking out because I'm like, there's no way. This kid's not in any pain, first off. Yes, his face is quite swollen, but I'm like, surgery, like, this is outrageous. And so they all start panicking and they're going around and doing it. And he's looking at me like, you okay, Dad? Like, what's going on? Why is my face swollen? Why are they running around like crazy? And so they try and they get some surgery place. They're like, yeah, you're going to have to go to the hospital and they're going to do, an outpatient surgery thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is fucking nutty, right? I'm going to have to go see an oral surgeon. They're like, don't worry, your medical insurance will cover this because it's medical. It has to be a surgeon that does it. And I'm like, I don't care about the money with this. I'll go bankrupt trying to take care of these kids. I have no problem with that. My problem is this necessary? You know what I mean? And so something happened in the front of the office without me involved. It wasn't me saying, is this necessary or anything like that. I just kind of sat there quiet being like, oh shit, is my little guy going to be okay? That's all. That's the only thing I thought about, really, in all reality. I'm just looking at his face swollen. I'm like kind of tearing up because it's I don't know. There's a weird connection. Any of my kids, they get a paper cut and I'm like, the end of the world, we got to take him to the ER. And he's just got a drop of blood. That's just how I am. You know what I mean? With my kids. So, which is weird because I'll beat the crap out of people and there'll be blood all over the place. Or, I carried a dude's leg one time, with a car accident. That stuff doesn't faze me, but when it comes to my kids, it does. Long story short, somehow some other doctor came out and you could tell she was the one in charge. Like shout out to Dr. G. I'm not saying your last name, but you probably don't watch this anyway. But Dr. G came out and she's like, what's going on? Let me see these x-rays. Okay. And she sat down there and she's like, looking, she's like, why are they trying to send him to the hospital? And she turns to him and she's like, all right, I'm going to check your mouth. And he's like, okay, all big and smiling. She sticks her hands in there. And she's like, does this hurt? Does this hurt? Does this hurt? And he's like, nope. Sometimes when I drink, but it's not bad. Nope. Nothing hurts, nothing. And she's feeling around and she's like, he doesn't need this. We're just going to give him a super heavy dose of antibiotics. Super heavy dose of antibiotic. That's it. And then we'll come back after the infection is gone, hopefully, on Monday, and they'll do it. And they'll take out the tooth on Monday, in the afternoon. And I'm like, all right, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a much better scenario there. I like your scenario. I was telling her, I was very happy with that solution. So, we ask the questions and all that stuff and we get the prescriptions. It's not just amoxicillin like they used to give us back in the day that cost like $2 for a whole bottle of 500 milligram amoxicillin. No, they mix it with some like acid stuff and I don't know what the hell it is, but apparently it's really good, but it gives kids diarrhea. So you got to buy. So like the amoxicillin with our insurance, this little bottle of it was like $10, right? This antibiotic, whatever the hell it is that he has to take to like help his stomach when he's like shooting out water from his butthole. That apparently costs like $57 and it's not a prescription. So you got to pay full price for it, but whatever, the little guy gets what he wants. So, it's crazy, right? So I take him, and I'm asking him or I'm asking them and I'm like, is he good to go to the hospital or go back to school? And they're like, no, not today. He can't go to school today because his face is swollen out. And I'm like, well, shit, because I have to work. I got stuff to do all day. I'm planning on going to Youngstown. I got all these mugs I got to print. I got all this stuff I got to do. What do I do? And then I'm thinking to myself, at first thought is I'm like, I'll just go home. I'll grab his tablet. We'll come to the office and belt out some of this stuff. And he could just sit in the front waiting area. And then I'm like, no, if he can't go to school, he needs to be in bed. That's what they want. They want him on bed rest. So I'm like, fuck. So we go home and we just sit there all day. And I got some relaxation, done, but I didn't get anything done that I needed to in the office. And so it's caused me a slight panic, right? For one, my son's face is still growing. It's like getting bigger. And, there's we're doing hot compresses and all that stuff to try to take down the swelling. Cause it's a little bit scary. He doesn't even care though. He just likes it when he smiles. So now he's got like a crooked smile cause his face is all swollen. But he likes how it feels, apparently. So he's like walking around the house smiling. We drove back, because my car was finally fixed from the deer incident, the Antifa deer. So I was driving him back to my wife's work to drop her off him off because school was done, but she couldn't leave because she was waiting for the other kid. And we're singing like pop songs on the radio. And this kid's 7 years old. I don't know where he knows all these songs from, but he like knows every pop song that's on the radio, even the ones that are like slightly pornographic and I turn them off. You know, the one where it's that lady that's singing about dudes' wangs, and that's apparently what she's singing about and how bad she needs it. And she doesn't give a shit what your wife says. Yeah, that kind of crap that's playing on terrestrial radio now. It's very crazy. But it's going good, you know. So my wife is like, are we calling him out? And I said, I don't want him going to school if his face is all puffed out. Like, I really don't. We'll have to wait and see if these antibiotics kick in. I'm someone that's taken amoxicillin like at 2:00 in the afternoon, taking it again before bed. I wake up and all the abscess and pain and everything is gone from, you know, it's sometimes it works that quick. And I've known people that have to do the full cycle. Well, you're always supposed to do the full cycle of antibiotics. But people that would, before anything subsides or pain or anything. Now, he's not in pain. He's bored out of his mind because, of course, I treated it like bed rest. I'm like, you are sick. You're not allowed to go to school because the doctor said you're sick. So you need to go and just lay down. And then he's like, but mom broke my bed. Yes, she did. Yeah. My wife broke his bed sitting on it the other day. Like the pieces that go across the bed. Like, dude, she worked out extra hard this morning. And I'm like, it's because the bed is like 700 years old. It has nothing to do. You're not heavy. So it has nothing to do with body weight or anything. It's because the bed's really old. But oh my gosh, she got so mad. She's like, I just broke his bed. I got so fat. I got to lose weight. And I'm like, whoa. Simmer down now. But Joan made a good point. She said if he's going to get the runs, better not be at school. Everyone that's watching on Citizen Stringer, because of contractual obligations, the Pete Santilli show is going to cut in at 6 p.m. You're welcome to finish watching this on social media if you so choose. Otherwise, it'll replay in its entirety at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock tonight on Citizen Stringer, as long as I can get the upload function working, because it wasn't working earlier when I was trying. But yes, so that was my day so far. I didn't get any of the mugs printed, which I really needed to do. I didn't get any of the other shirts, you know, logged into our store under the clearance section. So it's caused a little bit of a panic for me because we need to have all those sales every single day in order for me to like do stuff like that we need to, like go to Youngstown, Ohio. So I'm doing something I don't do ever. I need your help. If you want to see our coverage of the Trump rally live on Saturday, please consider sending super chats. Go to f-antifa.live and you can do Cash Apps, Venmos, my PayPal email is in there. Zelle, don't use Zelle because we're not using Zelle. But any which way that you want to, you know, Venmo or PayPal, any way that you want to contribute, that would be nice because as it stands right now, the Youngstown may not happen because we just, it's not in the cards. You know what I mean? Especially because I just missed a whole day today. So we'll have to wait and see. But f-antifa.live if you want to contribute. Cash Apps and Venmos are preferred. PayPal too, because that's right away. And if you want to support it. All right. With that said, so that was a little bit of an intro, right? Took a little bit. 20 minutes. Holy crap. So I just talked about my kid for 20 minutes. Half of you are probably like, Steve, get to the news already. That's why we watch you. Well, you watch me because I talk about what I want. Someone said, are you going to be allowed in? I hope they let you in. Yeah, see, I'm not even going in. I'm going to be outside. So this is what my plan is. All right. You guys want to know the master plan? So depending on how we do, I'll either take the motorhome up and, do a live show Friday night from someplace, undisclosed location inside the motorhome. Or depending on how we do with the f-antifa.live and the contributions from you guys. Or here's another alternative. Just go buy a bunch of shit in our store. Buy as much as you can. You're also entered for a chance to win the Key West giveaway at the end of the month. So it's like a double positive. But yeah. What was I going to say? The other alternative that I have is to take the car. Now that I have the car, pack it full of a small table, a coffee maker, a generator, a bunch of bags of coffee, and a shit ton of water, and just hand out free coffee that way. Brian with a $25 Venmo. Thank you so much, dude. But yeah, so that's essentially what we're looking at. And then if I go up on Saturday in the car, then I'll bring a little bit of coffee. We'll sell some coffee. Then I'll pack everything away, and then I'll take the camera and I'll go out and do interviews and try to catch some interviews with some people, find out why they're out there, what they think about what's going on, current event stuff. That's what I want to do. I have no interest in going in the Trump rally. To be honest, for one, they keep denying our press credentials. And secondly, we could see everything that happens inside. We could see that on television. We could see that on RSBN or on Rumble, on Donald Trump's Rumble. So my thing is I want to be out there. I want to interview some people that are on the outside of the event and talk about it. So if you guys want to see me in Youngstown, I just need people to help pay for the fuel and possibly a hotel if I take my car up there. That's what I need, to be honest. And you could do that by visiting the f-antifa.live or just go to puretruthcoffee.com. Buy some coffee, buy a mega box. A mega box it's like getting 4 or 5 super chats all at once. So it works. Don't send the super chats because YouTube takes a huge percent anyway. Anyway, so that's that. Yesterday, there was some shit that happened all across the country. There was a mass shooting in Chicago. 2 people killed, 7 people injured. Apparently, there was like a circus, and I'm hearing conflicting things. It was either a circus or it was a baseball game or some sort of sporting event that turned into violence when people opened fire. No suspect information available. 2 people did die as a result of that, and 7 others were injured. There was also a mass shooting in Milwaukee early this morning, 2:58 a.m. this morning in Milwaukee. A 25-year-old man was shot in the chest. A 25-year-old man was found unresponsive lying on the floor, shot in the head, and a 23-year-old man was shot in the chest and is in critical condition. 2 other people were injured in that shooting. No suspect information is available, and I'm not quite sure if there are any other mass shootings. I know I just saw something. There's a bunch of stuff going on. There's a bunch of stuff going on in California, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Apparently, the sheriff's deputies are taking boxes from Civilian Oversight Commissioner Patty Giggins' office in Los Angeles as part of a sprawling investigation that includes Metro and Supervisor Sheila Kuhl. The COC has a series of investigative hearings into alleged gangs in the sheriff's department. So it's kind of weird that the Civilian Oversight Commissioner is being served with a search warrant while they have multiple investigative hearings into the very same sheriff's department that's doing that. We have no information if this is connected to anything having to do with elections or anything like that. And maybe there is a connection, but I was a little preoccupied today, tending with a young kid that wasn't feeling too good. Did Steve say there's another Trump rally soon? Yes, on Sunday or Saturday night. So, I don't know. Something's going on in the chat. Texas Patriot, you better be good. I don't know what's going on in that chat, but let's be proper. Let's be prim and proper on YouTube. Anyway, so that was one mass shooting that transpired so far, or 2 mass shootings that transpired, and there may have been more. I also saw something on social media at Vallejo High School. There was a fight that broke out, and it turned to gunfire, and a football coach actually attempted to stop that fight as multiple people were beating the crap out of each other. When the football coach tried to intervene and stop that fight, they shot him. Yeah, outside of a high school in California. I don't know if that is even today. I just saw the video, and it's frightening that this is even happening in the United States. Also frightening, Northeastern University yesterday around 7 p.m., they received a package that was in a Pelican case, apparently. They opened that, and as a 45-year-old staffer was opening the said package inside of Northeastern University, well, it blew up, injuring him, giving him injuries to his hands. He's minor injuries. He's fine. Police were called. Obviously, an explosive device found at a college, let alone in Boston, is a pretty big deal. They discovered another device that hadn't exploded, so they they rendered that safe. However, a bomb squad does that. And that's pretty much all we know. I did see other reporting. And again, I'm kind of out of it because I haven't paid any attention to the news from 8 o'clock this morning until right now. I did see some reporting that there was a note that was attached, or either attached to the Pelican case or inside the Pelican case, that was talking about virtual reality, and that was from a verified journalist. So they were talking about virtual reality, i.e. the Meta, and targeting Zuckerberg, that dude, Mark Zuckerberg. But which doesn't make any sense, because why would you send it to the laboratory? Not a lot makes sense with that. So I'm not quite sure if that's verified at all. Maybe April knows more about it, and that's fine. But I just wanted to provide a little bit of news as it relates to that. There's been a tremendous amount of of there's been a tremendous amount of false active shooter alarms, especially in Texas. I think there are 4 or 5 schools that were placed in lockdown yesterday and today over mass shooting. People reporting mass shooters at schools. I think it happened again as well in, I believe, Pennsylvania or LA, Los Angeles. I'm not quite sure. There's a lot that's going on. There is, what's this? Lancaster High School evacuation. Is this where that shooting was before? No, see, another hoax. Yeah. So Lancaster High School, that's in Los Angeles County. Lancaster High School was just evacuated and locked down because of these shooting hoaxes. So now people are doing it all over the place, and it's just going to continue happening throughout the country every single day. People wanted to talk about the railway strike. Well, Amtrak has announced that they are canceling some long distance train rides effective, I believe, immediately. So, and we haven't really talked about this too much because, I didn't think anything was going to come into fruition with it, but it seems like it will because some of the engineers union or freight workers union or rail workers union or whatever, they have just voted to not accept the deals that were in place. And now transit systems across the country are on edge amid the threat of a freight rail worker strike, making preparations ahead of possible travel disruptions that could affect hundreds of thousands of rail customers. Amtrak said it is canceling all of its long-distance trains starting tomorrow. Some regional transit agencies have said they are preparing for service stoppages as early as Thursday evening ahead of a possible 12 a.m. shutdown on Friday. They are wrapping up plans to communicate with commuters if a strike is not averted, and some are working with other agencies to direct people to bus alternatives. The disruptions to passenger systems that operate on freight rail lines would be felt across several major metropolitan areas, including Washington, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The strike threat also eliminated most of Amtrak's service outside the Northeast Corridor, forcing travelers to find other modes of transportation or cancel plans at the last minute. Now, Amtrak canceled service on all of its long-distance routes beginning Thursday, most of which have a daily trip in each direction and provide cross-country connections for thousands of Americans. Between 24 and 28 daily trains will not operate while service is suspended. Now, Karen Finucane Clarkston, a spokesperson for the Virginia Railway Express, which carries commuters from Northern Virginia suburbs into the nation's capital, said, "One can only hope that there is some resolution before Friday. We are truly hoping we can run service on Friday. That would be best for the region." A strike would involve workers from 2 private railroads that host VRE trains. Those are CSX and Norfolk Southern, and result in the suspension of all service. Several commuter rail agencies and the vast majority of Amtrak routes operate on tracks owned by freight railways whose workers are threatening to strike. Now, freight railroads and unions representing their workers have been negotiating a new contract as part of a long-time dispute over pay and working conditions, but have not come to an agreement. A federally mandated cooling off period ends Friday, opening the possibility of a strike or a lockout. The Biden administration has sought to resolve labor conflict to avert the possibility of one of the most disruptive strikes in recent U.S. history. The Association of American Railroads estimates a shutdown could cost the economy more than $2 billion a day. $2 billion a day. Is F Antifa not working? Oh, no. You know what? I bet I didn't renew the damn site. I bet I didn't renew the site. Oh, no. I didn't renew the site. Well, good. I guess I lost that website. You can go to citizenstringer.com/support. citizenstringer.com/support. Fuck, man. I lost that website. I thought it just renewed, man. Whatever. I wanted to change it anyway. That was a good one. Citizenstringer.com/support, and you can do it with a credit card right there. And my PayPal is the live at Freight Broker Live email. Cash App is, I think it's still Freight Broker Live because I don't think I could ever change it. Let me see. Cash App. Because it wasn't letting me change it before because I've changed it too many times apparently. Let's see. Yeah, Freight Broker Live is my Cash App, and I think I did change Venmo to my name, Steve Oatley. Let me check. Yeah, Venmo is just my name, at Steve Oatley there. So if you want to do that, that would be super awesome, because we are going to Youngstown, Ohio. I'll have the goal, because right now we're at $25. I don't know. It was 25, but now I guess is Venmo taking money now? Huh, that's weird. I got charged 57 cents on Venmo. Weird. But yeah, if I make enough for, hotel and fuel for the car, I'll just go out to Youngstown. And I'll be honest, I may still go, but things are getting freaking tight over here. YouTube revenue from last month, just so everyone knows, because we don't promote super chats or any of that, was $238. Anyone who works in social media, the $238 on a channel when you upload 108,000 hours of video a month is like literally the worst you can possibly have. So, we're kind of struggling a little bit in that front, but I want to give a shout out to Bill Keene as well. Shout out to you, Bill. Anyway, yeah, don't go to f-antifa.live. That link doesn't work. citizenstringer.com/support. And you can go there. That's the best one. But yeah, so those are the main news stories that we wanted to cover today. I actually talked about all three of them, excluding the Amtrak one, because I've just been waiting. And then I saw some big names in the trucking and transportation industry. We're starting to talk about it. Thank you, James, for that as well. I don't know if they're all the same James, because I just got 3 text messages, or 3 people named James just did that. But I appreciate it. No, it's the same James. Thank you, bud, as well. I think Venmo takes money if you use a credit card, not debit. Oh, I got you. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. But this administration couldn't resolve the conflict between 5-year-olds. That is true. That is true. I'm going to figure out this thing about this website, because I don't want to lose that website. Business model issue, someone said. No, it's just slow. Biden is killing the economy. He's killing the economy. And we don't promote. See, and here's the thing. We have expenses because we run a business. We're not just like some streamer going out with a camera or going out with a cell phone and recording. We actually have expenses from, the keeping the lights on, the electric, the stores, all the stuff that we do, transportation, the warehouse, all of the inventory we purchase to sell. It all just costs money, and everything has gone up. You know what I mean? So for, this month was crazy because last month was crazy. You know what I mean? So we're playing like a catch up. We're still, a debt-free company, but I want to remain that way. You know what I mean? So which is why we do a push. Like when I go live and say, I need you guys to rally today and buy these shirts from the store and stuff like that, that's because we need to. You know what I mean? So we don't have to not be a debt-free company. We're a debt-free company right now, and that's the way I want to keep it. Yo, Loza is up here. Loza is in the chat. Shout out to Loza. With the Wake Up America song. I'm using the new Roadcaster, so I don't have that auto. He still needs to show me how to make like auto-tune songs. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. We need to do a duet, right? Can I be in one of your videos? Yeah, let's do that. Right? Anyway. But Lowe's is in the chat. And yeah, it was just a crazy day. Like I said, my kid, with his face being all swollen out, it kind of just caught me off guard. It threw me for a loop. And I wasn't able to do what I needed to do. I had a plan, man. I was in here bright and early. I started recording before 8 a.m. to do the news segments. And I was like, yeah, I was on a roll. Then his face was all swollen out. And now part of me is like, I should stay here and print all the mugs and do all that, so I stay on track. But the dad in me is like, no. Go home, make sure. My wife isn't really medically inclined, right? Hence the, like, when do I give him drugs and all that stuff. So part of me wants to make sure that swelling goes down tonight, because that freaks me out. Loza said, no matter what, I'll always be around and show some love, man. You are a real one. Hell yeah, I am. Shout out. Roy said, what's up, brother? Steve from Maryland. What's up, buddy? Talking Hand said, to confirm last digits of phone. Yeah, for anyone that's using Venmo and it wants to confirm, you can do it without confirming if you want, or the last four of my cell phone are two. What I don't, because fuck it, I don't care. I don't answer the damn thing anymore. I think it's, what is my number? Fuck. Is there a way to tell what my number is? What is my number? I think it's 2605. I think that's the last four of my number. I have no idea. I think that's what it is. But you can also just say send without confirming or something like that. Ask Loza if you can play Bitler. No, I know I can, but I still get copywritten anyway. It doesn't matter. It's because of the service he uses. But I could play his music all the time. And I do. And I don't really care because none of these videos are monetized. They don't monetize our live feeds. Someone said active shooter, find it, Steve. Like, I love it when people tell me how to do this, which is fine. I'll do it. Whatever. We got to talk for a while. Yeah, but there's probably no active shooter. Let's just hope there's no active shooter. $2605 is the last one. So there's nothing right now. Annalise, holy cow, I'm going to Youngstown. You guys can continue happy. That just got the gas though. Shout out to you, Annalise. She just paid for the fuel. I got my car back, man. My car looks nice. You know what happens when you hit a small baby deer and it does a tremendous amount? $4,000 was the damage to the car. They also detail your car. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, you know how that, because we just got her this Subaru, right? Maybe 2 months ago, right before school started, because she needed an all-wheel drive vehicle for driving up and down in the winter and all that stuff. And God, it was. I didn't have a car seat in my car, and I had to go get my boy to take him to the dentist this morning. So I had to go into her car. I never go into her car. I literally texted her, and I'm like, you are a dirty B word, because her car was so dirty. And so now I have to clean it, because ultimately that responsibility does fall on me. It's my job, to do that, to take care of the cars. And I take it to the oil changes and stuff like that. That is my job. So I have to do that. April, I think on one of the YouTubes we have a spammer, the porn spammer. So yeah, let me give a shout out to Angelise, and Bill. I already gave you a shout out. James and Brian so far. They're the ones who are supporting this trip out to Youngstown. So I'll be out there as well. D as well. D is a big one. She just, did the gas and everything as well. So I appreciate it. So I will be in Youngstown on Friday. Someone said they just reported that it may have been a hoax. It wasn't a hoax because it blew up. This is originally what I thought, right? So there's a Pelican case that blew up, apparently, is what they're saying. And the guy suffered minor injuries. Those glitter bombs that people used to send until they got arrested for it? That's what I was thinking. Like someone that made like a spoof thing went to send it to one of their friends, mislabeled it or something like that. Maybe it opens up, and as it opens, it shoots a bunch of the little, male members all over the place, like they use at bachelorette parties. That's what I was thinking that this thing was, but then they said they found another one and deactivated that one. That was the one that creeped me out. But I don't know. Steve, if you want to gain more viewers, get a mascot, a cat, a ferret, a honey badger, whatever it takes. I don't really care about viewers that much, as long as the quality. I don't care about the quantity of viewer, more I care about the quality of viewer. Someone said, supposedly an active shooter. Yeah, there's been a lot. Thomas, again, wants a shout out for taking his call last night. I saw you write that a couple of times. So shout out to you, Thomas, for calling in last night. I appreciate it. Yesterday was interesting because we did open up. We talked to a couple of people. We talked to the one dude from Louisville that participated in the BLM riots. That was interesting. I kind of got him there at the end, right? But that's cool. Let me see. I'm trying to see what else was going on there. Let me go back to Twitter and see. I don't see anything about an active shooter being reported now. So I'm not quite sure. But there has been a ton of different incidences all across the country. I mean, there always is. This is the new America. This is the America we have now. I didn't watch any hearings today. I didn't watch anything, so I don't know if there was a lot that happened today. Was there a monkeypox hearing today? Oh, maybe we missed a good one. Maybe we missed a monkeypox hearing. I didn't watch it. And Senator Hirono said fighting the pro-life movement is literally a call to arms in our country. So she is, oh my goodness. So Hirono is saying, listen, this is a quote from Hirono. Fighting the pro-life movement is literally a call to arms in our country. Wow. So is she saying that they need to use weapons to stop pro-life activists? You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want that. All right. So Lancaster, lockdown at Lancaster High School in the Antelope Valley. This text message was just sent to someone. Lancaster, 32nd West. A reported active shooter location at the school is on lockdown and all streets are nearby or shut down. Air 35 is overhead. Radio traffic said West 32nd Street, Lancaster Boulevard. Gunman reported active, caller disconnected. Sheriff on the road, code 3. Update, school deputy principal did not hear any gunshots. School sealed off and containment in place. Multiple units en route, code 3. This is radio traffic apparently. Another caller reported hearing gunfire near a room. But this is nothing whether it's true or not. And this is not even a real website. See, I shouldn't have read this first. It's just like a template WordPress website. So we'll have to see. Steve, look at what Senator Rand Paul said today in the hearing. Yeah, so was that this clip? Maybe I'll just play it. I'm not really queued up to play this. Anything? You guys should be able to hear the audio, though.
But she's had the flu for 14 days. Should she get a flu shot?
Well, no. If she got the flu for 14 days, she's as protected as anybody can be because the best vaccination is to get infected.
Wait, so this is a long one. So, Matt, maybe I should play this one. Should I just set this up so we can watch this whole thing? Why the fuck not, right? Where is my... I just got to hook up the NDI thing. See, but if they're only talking about COVID and all that stuff, I don't really want to watch it. People can find that on Twitter. If you look up Rand Paul, you'll be able to find it on Twitter. I don't know what they're talking about. Because basically they're taking all... We all know Rand Paul's a hypocrite. You know, we all know that... Or not Rand Paul. I'm sorry, Dr. Fauci. We all know he's a hypocrite. We all know he just says certain things and doesn't actually mean them. We all know he lies to the general public every single day. We know that. So watching someone do it for the 90 millionth time, to me, doesn't have a lot of energy. You know, it's not something I'm truly that interested in, but I know you guys are, right? And I don't know what they're going to talk about. Watch, this is fucking final. This is the nail in the coffin for the for my show, right? This is where YouTube just gets to ban it. But whatever, you guys want it? I got you, bro. I got you, babes. Okay, let me see. All right, so I got you, babes. That's how it goes over here. Oh, there's Discord. Oh, no, let me just switch over back here right now because I'm not ready, guys. Where is Mr. Rand Pauliano? Right here. Let's grab this. Drag the son of a gun over to this one. Make
she got the flu for 14 days. She's as protected as anybody can be because...
Let me just refresh it. This is Rand Paul apparently talking to Dr. Fauci, and then he plays some sort of clip, okay? This clip is 6 minutes, 58 seconds. I'm going to let the whole darn thing play. You know why? Because that's what we should. We don't clip or edit anything. So enjoy this. And keep in mind, we're going to Youngstown, Ohio this weekend, and we need your support. You can send Venmos at Steve Oatley. I'm going to live stream different. I'm going to be like Ford Fisher, right? So I'm going to have my high def cell phone right there up at the top. That's going to be running a continuous live stream as I'm going to get in interviews with people on the ground. And we'll upload a 4K high def version of it as well. And we'll have some of our coffee, give them out, stuff like that at the rally as well. But my main goal of going all the way to Youngstown, Ohio is not to sell coffee or shirts. No, because then I wouldn't even be like, hey, we need your help to go out. This is, if you truly just want to watch the rally and you want to see someone going out there and interviewing people in that, please consider throwing a couple of bucks via Venmo. It's at Steve Oatley on Venmo, or Cash App is at or $ Freight Broker Live. April, if you want to type those both in the chat, super helpful. Thank you everyone that already helped out as well. Because I'm just going to take my car so I could beeline up there. I'll just get a cheaper hotel for the night, and then I could beeline back. All right, so let's watch this hearing. I'll be right back. I wrote that song. It's very good. It was very good. I know. You guys are sitting there going, oh my God, Steve has a singing ability. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know.
But she's had the flu for 14 days. Should she get a flu shot?
Well, no, if she got the flu for 14 days, she's as protected as anybody can be, because the best vaccination is to get infected yourself.
And
So
she should not get it?
if she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu.
She should not get it again.
No, she doesn't need it, because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
This is an ongoing question, and we've had ever-evolving opinions from you, Dr. Fauci. Currently, antibody surveys show that 80% of children, approximately 80% of children, have had COVID, and yet there are no guidelines coming from you or anybody in the government to take into account their naturally acquired immunity. You seemed quite certain of yourself in 2004, but in 2022, there's a lot less certainty. One of the things that we also know after looking at this for 2 to 3 years is that the mortality from COVID is very similar, if not less, than influenza. So when we look at this, we wonder, why you seem to really embrace basic immunology back in 2004 and why you seem to reject it now.
Well, I don't reject basic immunology, Senator. And I have never denied that there is importance of the protection following infection. However, as we have said many times, and as has been validated by the authorization by the FDA through their committee and the recommendation by the CDC through their committee, that a vaccination following infection gives an added extra boost. And that film that you showed is really taken out of context. I believe that was when someone called in who had had a reaction to a vaccine and asked me through a telephone in the interview if they should get vaccinated again. So it was in the context of someone who had a reaction. And as a matter of fact, Reuters fact check looked at that and said, Fauci's 2004 comments do not contradict his pandemic stance.
Actually, words don't lie. If you look at the words behind me, we can go over them a little bit at a time.
The
she
picture will
doesn't
come
need
back
it
in a
because
second.
the most
I'm not quite sure
potent
why.
vaccination is getting infected yourself.
It is true. It is true, Senator. It is a very potent way to protect.
So when you're trying to tell us that kids need a third or a fourth vaccine, are you including the variability or the variable of previous infection in the studies? No, you're not. Because when you have approved vaccines in recent times, and the committees that have approved it for children don't report anything on hospitalization or death or transmission. Right. They only report that if you give them the jab, they'll make antibodies. And you can give kids hundreds of jabs and they'll make antibodies every time, but that does not prove efficacy. Right. So what you're doing is denying the very fundamental premise of immunology that previous infection does provide some sort of immunity. It's not in any of your studies. Almost none of your studies from the CDC or from the government have the variable of whether or not you've been previously infected. So let's look at adults. I've had 3 infections. Should I get a 4th one? If you're going to measure whether I get a fourth one, you need a category that has a fourth one in it, and you need one that has nothing in it, no vaccine or the fourth vaccine. But you also need to know whether they've been infected. If you ignore whether they've been infected, you're ignoring a vaccine, basically. So you're ignoring a variable. So what you're giving us is you decry, and people decry vaccine hesitancy. It's coming from the gobbledygook that you give us. You're not paying attention to the science. The very basic science is that previous infection provides a level of immunity. If you ignore that in your studies, if you don't present that in your committees, you're not being truthful or honest with us.
Senator, if I might respond, I have never, ever denied fundamental immunology. In fact, I wrote the chapter in the textbook of medicine
Is it
on fundamental
any of the guidelines?
immunology.
Any of the guidelines for vaccines?
You know,
do any of the guidelines for vaccines from the government include previous infection as something to base your decision making on with vaccines? Do any of the guidelines involve previous infection? That's why you're ignoring previous infection, because it doesn't involve any of the guidelines. And furthermore, we've been asking you, and you refuse to answer, whether anybody on the vaccine committees gets royalties from the pharmaceutical companies. I asked you last time, and what was your response? We don't have to tell you.
Right.
We've demanded them through Freedom of Information Act, and what have you said? We're not going to tell you. But I tell you this, when we get in charge, we're going to change the rules, and you will have to divulge where you get your royalties from what companies, and if anybody in the committee has a conflict of interest, we're going to learn about it. I promise you that.
Mr. Chair, can I respond to that, please?
May.
Okay, there are two aspects for what you said. You keep saying you approve, you do this, you do that. The committees that give the approval are FDA through their advisory committee. The committees that recommend are CDC through their advisory committee. And you keep saying, I'm the one that's approving a vaccine based on certain data. So I don't really understand, with all due respect, Senator.
You're the one that said you would not reveal what companies gave you royalties or what company gave the other scientists royalties.
Gotta move
That's
on.
what you told the committee.
Senator Paul,
Sir,
you gotta move on.
Could I please answer that?
Briefly,
You
yes.
keep asking committees. They're not my committees. They're the VRPAC committee for the FDA and the ACIP for the CDC. So I don't have any idea what goes on.
And they won't reveal, as well as you won't reveal.
Okay,
what
we're
companies
gonna
you
move on. We're over time. Senator Paul, you're over. Everyone is over a little bit. I just want to make sure we keep on time here. For the record, I know Chair Murray and previous chairs of this committee of both parties have found videos to be out of order, and I will note for the record the video.
Hey, isn't that just a massive pile of bat guano? Right? That was an interesting interview, right? A little bit. We all know they're getting royalties, and we all know why they're not going to admit getting royalties, because that would make them guilty. Do you know what I mean? We all know everybody's getting kickbacks, all the lobbyists and everybody. Here's the thing. Pfizer came out with this new study, didn't they? Or no, there was this, actually, I can't say it. I'm on social media. Never mind. Everybody should look up the most recent study that was released about Pfizer and efficacy. You know what I'm saying? Efficacy. That's a weird word. But there's this new video that came out that talks about how if you did have natural immunity, you don't anymore. If you got the vaccine, like, oh my goodness. You know? And here's another question that nobody wants to answer, nobody wants to pay any attention to. Why is it that one of the largest vaccine makers, not here in the United States, for some reason, even though they got government funding for it, but they're supplying vaccines to other countries, why is it that they, in June of 2020, or June of 2021, in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, after vaccines were put out and they already knew what was in the adjuvants that they gave out in those vaccines, why is it that a company that specializes making drugs specific to, these things, why did they buy a specialty drug manufacturing company that makes a drug that is used to curb the side of, or to fix, or not fix, to mask, I guess, the side effects of an adjuvant that's used in vaccines? Huh? Huh? In 7 to 8 years, are we suddenly going to have sudden blindness in the left eye? And you may remember, especially if you're, Gulf War times, right? You may remember Gulf veterans. There was a bunch of them that started having blindness in an eye, stroke on the left side of their face and all that stuff. And it was because of the anthrax vaccine. Look up what an adjuvant is, okay? Look up what an adjuvant is and figure out what an mRNA vaccine requires in order to activate. It's called an adjuvant. Look up which one they're using and then tell me the commonality between that one and the anthrax vaccine. And then you're all going to be like, holy shit, Steve, why haven't you talked about this before? Because really on social media, I wasn't allowed to. Frankly, I don't even care. If we're making $200 on YouTube by being honest, a month, why am I trying to censor myself? You know what I mean? To be honest, just go and look at that. Everything I just said is truthful. If everyone wants to look at it, fine. If everyone wants to, and I hope people do, I hope people look into it and realize, what these adjuvants are for. And guess what? They're all using them. They're all using them. Everyone can talk about, well, I would possibly take this vaccine because this vaccine doesn't have this in it. They all have adjuvants. It's literally something that has to be used because it is what activates the mRNA cells. That's what it's for. Yeah. And why did a big company that begins with Astra and ends with Zeneca purchase a company that specializes in manufacturing a drug that is used to treat the disease that is directly related to this adjuvant usage in previous times? Go figure that one out. And everyone can look it up. It's literally public knowledge. Everyone can look it up. They even did studies and found there's a direct correlation to vaccines and adjuvants used in vaccines with this particular disease that a vaccine maker just bought the company that makes the medicine for that one. It's like a never-ending cash cow with these pharmaceutical companies. They are always going to continuously make more money because, well, here's the thing. They put out a drug. The drug has side effects that cause other things. They put out a drug that curbs those side effects, but then that one has side effects. Why do you think when you're at late-night television, they're talking about a drug and they're like, side effects may be death, blah, 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 bowel syndrome, blah, 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 everything death. You may die. Psychosis. Like, remember the old Chantix commercials? Remember that? Those don't take if you have homicidal thoughts because, well, you'll act on them apparently. I have anger issues. I took Chantix when I tried to quit smoking years ago. And I told this story before, right? I took Chantix once and my wife took it away from me because she's like, you can't take this anymore. It's making you nuts. I was flipping out over dishes and shit like that. Basic household stuff. But I really, really wanted to quit smoking. This was when my older son was a baby, an infant. And we're living in this basement apartment. I'm just doing, labor, starting a trucking company. I'm doing everything I can to survive. But I wanted to quit smoking really bad. So I started taking the Chantix again because she didn't throw it away. She just hid it, but I found it. So I started taking it without telling her this time. And she noticed real quick. And then all of a sudden I'm changing my son's poopy diaper, right? She's at work or doing something. She's at a class, because she, was going to college. The Chantix helped my wife get a master's degree, mind you, because she was driving me nuts. I put her into school. But I was changing my son's diaper. Hate changing diapers. I can count on two hands how many times I've changed a poopy diaper in my life. But I had no choice. He pooped all over the place, and then he's peeing while I'm trying to change him and all that stuff. And I'm going like this. But I ended up losing my temper and punching a hole through the wall, in all reality. And I came home. My wife came home, and she's like, you started using Chantix again. I'm like, how did you know? She's like, you would have never punched a hole in the wall without, that. But yeah, it gave you really vivid dreams. You know what else gives me vivid dreams? Melatonin. That gives me very vivid dreams, really weird, vivid dreams, where I'm it's a real dream. And then I wake up and I'm like, holy shit, that was a dream, but it was real. You know what I mean? When you're dreaming, you know you're dreaming. But with melatonin, and Chantix, I would it would be like real life while you're sleeping. Have you ever heard of that? Isn't that weird? You didn't even know that was possible, but it is. Real life when you're sleeping. Someone said melatonin gives me headaches every time. Yeah, I got to take 2 and then it gives you the run. So it's like a double negative, right? If you want to be able to sleep, you got to take 2, but then you get stomach issues from it. But you do get a good night's rest and then you spend all morning on the toilet. So it's kind of annoying. It's annoying. Does Sleepy Joe coffee cause you to dream? I have no idea. I don't drink decaf. We sell it, although we're out of stock in it, but we do sell it. We're out of stock in Awake Not Woke. We're out of stock in Flying High and Donut Shop as well. Someone said, I'm never having another vax of any kind. Someone else said, there are going to be mRNA technology. Forget that crap, blah, blah, blah. I mean, mRNA technology has a lot of pluses to it. You know, I believe that's how we're going to find cures for cancers and stuff like that because of the incredibleness of that. But I understand people's, reactions. Like if you're talking about that it has fetal cells in it and all that stuff, don't even go there. That's a stupid argument. But if you want to talk about like the actual implications and of all the other drugs that have to be used in order to activate those drugs, then that's a bigger issue. And that's a more forthright issue that you have. Because if you believe the fetal cell thing and that's your whole reason, hopefully you don't drink soda or like anything that's not or like an original taste. Artificial taste, that's how they use it. Yeah, it's true. And it's all from one individual cell from 1972. Go figure that one that they split and replicated over and over and over millions and billions of times across America, across the world. It's really weird when you actually know just a tiny little bit. Of course, I have a family member that works in biosciences and I have a little bit of interest, not as much, but I have a little one. That's why I know some of this stuff, But someone said the only way to cure cancer is case by case. Someone else said off topic, but what did you say was the possible amount of THC in the non-THC gummies? Less than 3%. That's what they have to be for FDA certification. So I believe it's less than 3%, 0.03%. And on the CBD, I don't have the canister here, but we have a code, Citizen20, on justcbd.com, and you save 20% on your order, which is a great deal. So you should do it. I use CBD to sleep every single day. That's literally one of the things that I do. And this new thing, it's a newfound one, and I want to implore all of you guys to try it, right? So for a long time, I've never been able to fall asleep without the TV on. Well, I figured out that if I turn off the TV now, as I get older and wiser, I'll actually fall asleep. It's weird because I used to never be able to fall asleep without the TV on, because my brain would always be thinking. I'd toss and turn in bed. Nope, now it's the opposite. I have to get good and ready, right? Till my body's like, okay, turn over. Once I turn over, I turn off the TV because normally I'd be like rolled over and then I'd hear like a gunshot and I'd be like, ooh, what's that? What happened in the show? And then I'd sit back up and then I'd go get cookies and I'd be up for the next 3 hours. That's how it works. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Someone said RSO cured my cancer. I'm pretty sure of it. Don't know what that means, RSO, but I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you are in remission. Is that what it would be? I'm glad. Also, by the way, again, I'm going to keep saying this because we have to. We are going to Youngstown, Ohio this weekend. We're going to live stream from the Trump rally. We're not going to be going in, but we'll be live for several hours outside. I'll do a show the night before too, Friday. If you want to support it, that's different because we're not going with a bunch of t-shirts. I just don't have the time nor the resources to restock all those t-shirts and all that stuff at this point. So we are asking for your help. If you want to support us, and we don't do it like this that much, but if you want to support us, April will put the Cash App and Venmo links in there. If you want to use PayPal, it's live at freightbrokerlive.com. Or you could go to puretruthcoffee.com, buy a mega box, buy some coffee. We have a whole clearance section on puretruthcoffee.com, which is going to have even more stuff tomorrow. A lot of the old PT stuff, I think 4X and 5X, there's going to be a lot there, but make sure you check it. April, it looks like that porn spammer's back on one of the YouTube channels. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And my goal of going out there is because I want to interview people and just get the state of America without, because here's the thing, like we're not going to be in for when Donald Trump speaks. We'll probably, we'll play that on citizenstringer.tv from Rumble or something like that. We'll just grab Donald Trump's feed. But my thing is what I'm more concerned about is being able to get out there and talk to people about what is going on in America, what their view is. Are they struggling? Just everyday Americans, things like that. Find different descriptors for, America. My favorite question to ask people when I interview them is if you had to describe America in one word, what would it be? And so, yeah, if you want to support us, which we hope you all do, you can visit Venmo. My Venmo is just my name, at Steve Oatley, no space in between, at Steve Oatley. My Cash App is Freight Broker Live because they don't allow me to change it anymore. So that's just the $, Freight Broker Live, all one word. And PayPal again, live@freightbrokerlive.com. Or just go to puretruthcoffee.com, buy a bag of coffee. It's just like sending me $5 by buying a bag of coffee. Something as small as that really goes a long way. And we'll be out there giving coffee away, just like we typically do. We'll be out there pretty early giving coffee away on Saturday. And then I'll be milling about once the lines and all the people start trying to get interviews and stuff like that. So Optimus Prime said, Steve, are you going to have another 20-minute call-in show again at the end of the show? No, I'm not going to. I was going to, but then I didn't, and I decided not to. Right now, it seems to be working pretty well, just going off the social media feeds and all that stuff. So I think I'm going to do that for now. Tomorrow night, I will open up the phone lines at the end of the show. I'm not going to do that every single day, and you won't even know, because if I'll leave it open the whole time, but I'll just post the number up when I'm ready to take calls, and then people can call if they want. So that would be cool. Someone said, I don't know if Steve likes nerdy stuff, but I would love if he got with Gary and the folks from Nerdrotic. You know, you're not the first person to tell me that. I don't know. I've watched their show a couple of times. I don't know whether I would have anything to talk about with them, to be completely honest with you. But I don't know. I'm not a nerd, or anything like that, but I kind of like the show. I like just their, the way they talk to each other and stuff. That would be the only reason why I'd be willing to get like a co-host, right? Just to have someone to bounce ideas off of. Because right now I'm just talking to myself. You know what I mean? Even though we have hundreds of people watching, I'm truthfully just talking to myself. I see myself right there in the screen, and that's who I'm having a conversation with. Yeah, that's probably why I make all the funny faces like this, right? Because I'm looking at myself. It's funny. And I think it's funny. Doesn't matter if you guys do or not. But, yeah, I mean, I'd be a Quarter Black Garrett from Ladder with Crowder is on, and he could talk about anything. He's on Nerdtronics? Is he? Why isn't he on Ladder with Crowder anymore? He was a really good addition. I'll be honest. He was good on Ladder with Crowder. I'm not quite sure why he's not there anymore, but I've watched Ladder with Crowder a couple of times, and it doesn't hold the same. It's not the same to me recently. I don't know why. I find myself turning it off, which is, very similar. People probably find yourself doing that with this show. But I do. I find myself turning it off. One of the things I wanted to talk about real quick, too, is a movie that I watched the other day. It was that Sylvester Stallone movie where he's apparently a superhero. I think it's called Samaritan. I think it's on YouTube. No, it's on Netflix. How many of you guys watched that movie, Samaritan? How many of you watched it? Type 1 in the chat if you've watched that movie, Samaritan. Type 2 if you haven't yet, but you're going to. And type 3 if you don't really care, you don't like the washed up 5'2" Rocky. Because I watched Samaritan, and if you are going to watch it, I'm probably going to spoil it for you because I wanted to talk about it. Because I have to say, for how old is that guy, Sylvester Stallone? He's like 70, 90 years old, something like that, right? So he's mid-70s, I believe. Holy crap, I hope I look like that when I'm his age. Because that dude, even though there's some of it with CGI and all that stuff, he is still an incredibly fit guy. You can tell by the way he walks. Like if you pay attention to other 70-year-olds that are out there milling about, they look like they're 70 years old. They're hunched over, they're lazy. Think Joe Biden when you picture a 70-year-old. That was... Someone said, why would Steve go to a Trump rally to get opinion on our country from Americans unless he wants a biased opinion? Just wondering. What? Because it's still a perspective because here's the thing, not as many Trump supporters align with your rationale. Not as many supporters align with my values or things I have to say. That's why I want to go to those events and interview him. Hell, I'd go to a Joe Biden event, except he doesn't have any and he has no real viewers. We talked about that last night. Nobody actually likes Joe Biden. But anyway, the thing that I don't understand with the Samaritan movie is, there was a point, and I don't remember what it was now. It was a very good action movie. There was a lot of stuff. We watched it with my kid, my older boy, and my wife, and there was one point that we were watching it that we kind of turned to each other and we're like, maybe that's a little much for a 12-year-old, but he gets really pissed. Someone said he wants an ultra MAGA opinion. No, I want an American opinion. That's what I want. An American opinion. That to me, I don't identify people as ultra MAGA or anything like that. I want an American opinion. I want to hear, because here's the thing. They are Americans, right? If they're at these rallies, or most of them probably are, they're citizens of the United States. They have an opinion. That is what this show is about, is hearing their opinion. I don't give a shit if it's a leftist. I'll interview a leftist at one of these events if they're willing to talk. And it's just different. If you've never gone to one of those rallies, even if you disagree, if you've never gone to one of those rallies and just been around that many people that truly just care about this country, even though your personal politics may be disaligned from them, give a shit, just in general. And you're not going to find that anywhere else besides the Trump rally. And that's my opinion. Like that. That's how the song goes. Yeah, so the Sylvester Stallone movie was good. I did not see the plot twist at the end. All right. Should I do a spoiler alert? I don't think I should. I did not see that coming, though. Caught me off guard. But then it all makes sense. Like when the guy bumped into him outside of the pawn shop and he was like, I was like, oh, whoa, Sylvester, are those TRT shots starting to kick in there, buddy? You're supposed to be the good guy. Like, why are you getting all pissed off so the guy bumps into you, right? And then the one thing, when the kid is getting beat up by the four, hoodlums, right? And the kid's getting all beat up and Sylvester Stallone, like, boot stomps, like, see you in hell, kicks the guy in the chest. Remember? Like, it's towards the beginning of the movie. And then the little guy that looks like 6ix9ine, like a littler version of 6ix9ine with the stupid cornrows and the tattoos on his face. When that dude comes up and tries to like stab him, but Sylvester Stallone turns around and grabs a knife blade and squeezes it so hard that he bends the blade, and then he throws the blade down and he's not bleeding in his hand. And I understand, well, the guy can save himself. He's like a superhero and all that stuff, right? He is the Samaritan, right? Spoiler alert. No, he's not. I had to do it. I just ruined it for so many people. Anyway, but how come he didn't cut his hand? Like, when he got hit by the car, he was all bloody and his bones were all broken and all that stuff. When he grabbed a sharp knife blade and bent it with the sheer force from his hands, you're telling me that didn't ruin it? I don't know. It's very odd. Brett Owen said, I happen to be making a protein shake, so I can't hear the spoilers. Good. But yeah, it was a pretty good show. It kept us entertained the whole time. Now I'm on this show that's scaring the fuck out of me. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm watching this show that came out on Netflix. It's called Something to Do Ohio. Right, so it's the lady that used to be in Bones, the doctor from Bones. Remember her? I don't remember what color hair she had because I don't really care that much. My wife used to hate that show so much, but I used to watch it, right? Because she was a smart, intelligent woman, blah blah blah. But my wife hated that for whatever reason. And someone said, Nancy Miller, one last thing. Did you say regular Americans? How many people loved the guy with the short mustache in the beginning? Think he had rallies too? Nancy Miller, see, you are the reason why people hate the opposition. Your attitude, like Nancy Miller, in all reality, you are the reason why Democrats are and Republicans are acting the way they are. It's because of attitudes like this. It's because of your closed-minded bullshit comments. And I'm sure you're using a fake name and all that same stuff because you have to hide behind fake shit while you write stupid shit to try to incite a crowd of people. But I'll be honest with you, Nancy. Do you know who started the KKK? It was your party. Do you know who is now being racist as fuck? Your party. Do you know where crime is rampant throughout the United States? It's in cities run by your party. Do you know how inflation is through the roof? Your party leadership is the one that did that. Try to put those all. What are your complaints about Donald Trump, Nancy? What are your complaints? Oh God, he said losers and suckers. That was disproven. That wasn't real. He said all Mexicans are rapers. That was disproven. That wasn't real. J6, again, and just so you hear it, Nancy, just because you're probably new here. How did Donald Trump benefit from January 6th and the riot at the Capitol? He didn't benefit at all. He wanted the senators and the congressmen to object to the electorate, because that is where you would present the evidence of why that state's electorate was invalid. The whole thing that they're talking about, a second set of electorates and all that stuff, doesn't even matter, because Donald Trump wanted them to object to the electorate, to even look at the different states and anything like that, to look at what happened in those individual states. The riot occurred, and it caused 13 of the 14 senators that were going to raise objection, because you can't just do it as a congressman. You need to do it as there needs to be a congressman and a senator there to object to a state. And then you go through the 2-hour period where you argue about whether or not that state's electorate should be accepted. How does Donald Trump benefit from stopping that? Because he was claiming that there was malfeasance going on with the election process in the United States, right? Everybody knows that. That's what he claimed. How does stopping them from presenting that evidence benefit Donald Trump? There's only one group of people that benefited from the riot stopping the challenging of the electorate, and that was the Biden administration, or at that time, the Biden campaign. It did nothing. The riot at the Capitol did nothing to benefit Donald Trump. It did nothing at all. And that's what nobody wants to understand. Nobody wants to look at that like macro level. Everybody wants to look at the individual failures. Well, not even looking at them. Like, why did they turn down? Why did Nancy Pelosi's secretary of or sergeant at arms for the House and Senate sergeant at arms and the Senate architect who chaired the 3-person committee, she appoints all of them into those roles. Why would they refuse Chief Sun's request 7 times for National Guard backup? Why is the National Guard member or National Guard commander who didn't send in troops earlier, why is that guy now in charge of the House Sergeant at Arms? Why is he now the House Sergeant at Arms? If you want to look at if you want to look at all that stuff and then say, well, people valued the guy with the short mustache in the front in the beginning, and to try to equate that to Donald Trump, you'd be better off equating that to the blind sheepishness of you. Remember, this shirt says raise lions, not sheep, Nancy. But if you really want to take a good hard look at what's happening in America and the reason why, and the people that are blindly following someone, even though they are doing something that's disastrous, you have to go in front of a mirror, because the man that is currently in control of this country is destroying us. He's destroying the country as a whole. You and your livelihoods are at risk because of that man in office now. You can talk all the shit you want about Donald Trump. You can not like Donald Trump. You could say, orange man bad. Oh, crazy hair. Oh, he doesn't golf. Oh, he poops himself. Oh, he throws hamburgers at the walls. Whatever bullshit you want to make up. But the fact is the person that's responsible for the most destruction in this country in the past 6 years is Joe Biden. He single-handedly flipped everything back to well beyond where Donald Trump was in office. And I know you don't like that. And I know you don't like it. And hopefully you're not banned. I hope my mods didn't ban you for it, because you didn't say anything that was ban worthy. But I wanted to take a point and express that to you, because a lot of what people are saying all the time is that Donald Trump is bad for this reason or that reason. Nancy said, wrong. Real name, you need to open your eyes. You say you're neutral, simple. Oh, I'm not neutral. I'm conservative as fuck.
Wrong. Real name, you need to open your eyes. If you say you are neutral, simple. Trump took paper from the White House that he had no power to do. Watch the hearing, Steve.
Okay, so you're saying that Trump, who is the president of the United States, who there's been no precedent to challenge him, meaning that he can't be arrested for it, and even if he is arrested, it would go all the way to the Supreme Court because it's never been heard before. The only person that has uniform authority to declassify anything they want is the president of the United States. You're saying because he took documents that have been leaked that are not verified. Keep in mind, every single document that's been leaked out, that Donald Trump apparently had nuclear codes. Donald Trump apparently had this. Donald Trump apparently had lists of classified agents. Think of how many different versions of the documents that were apparently captured in Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estates. Think of how many different variations you've heard of those documents so far. Now what they're focusing on is the top secret, the secretest of the top secret ever. There's a document there that talks about the nuclear capabilities of one of our allies. That apparently now that is what's leaked because they didn't get anywhere by lying and saying he had classified information related to, our counterterrorism, overseas. He didn't have any nuclear codes or nuclear missile, information, even though they tried to say that and he was trying to sell our nuclear secrets to foreign governments. They said all that stuff too. And now the latest one is this. All the while, the federal government, the very same federal government, judges are telling them to stop leaking information. That's why they put in the grand magistrate or whatever it is, because the government's leaking information, not the whole information. It's like me saying this pen right now. Well, not that one. It's like saying this pen, you see it as a pen, but I'm telling you that I'm not holding a pen. I'm holding a fork, right? When you see it, you know it's a Sharpie, but I can just say right now, I'm holding a fork. And you're going to say Steve during his show said he was holding a fork. He was holding a fork. Actually, that's not what's happening. Mainstream media in this instance would be writing, Steve definitely 100% according to sources familiar with his eating habits was holding a fork during his live stream. In fact, I wasn't. I was holding a thermometer. Why I have that on my desk? No fucking clue. But you know what I'm saying? That's what's going on with the mainstream media is they're like, oh, Steve has a gun on his table. Well, I do. See, that's not a good analogy, but you know where I'm getting there. They just make stuff up. And then and here's the thing, you can't challenge it. So Nancy, think about the majority of your complaints about Donald Trump right now. Think about the majority of your complaints right now. How many of them can you actually verify? When you actually think that cognitively about what's going on, oh my gosh, you're going to be surprised. You're going to be so surprised because you'll find out that the majority of the stuff that Donald Trump is apparently allegedly guilty of doing isn't true. Inciting a mob at the Capitol, he didn't incite anybody. He told people to go home peacefully. He said, we are the party of law and order. You don't know that because the January 6th Commission wouldn't show you. The stuff coming out of the country, coming out of your uninformed mouth is the reason our country is the way it is. You are not answering any of the statements you are attacking because you have no facts to rebuff. Are you stupid, Nancy? Like literally, do you have a diagnosis from a psychiatrist? Like, have you forgotten to take your medication today, Nancy Miller? Because I think so. You're saying you are not answering any of the statements I am attacking. You're not making, you told me, you said that Hitler was a good person or that people followed Hitler in the beginning, which is irrelevant to what we're talking about now. Then you said I need to watch hearings. That's not a statement. That's a demand, which fuck it. We watch the hearings anyway. We live stream them. And then you said the papers. You said, Donald Trump, look at the papers he's taken. Well, my God, Nancy, are you an FBI agent? Because guess who are the only people that have been able to look at these papers so far? The FBI, because they haven't been released. Nobody is able to look at the papers. So why are you blindly believing that they do have them? Remember the whole Russian hoax? It didn't happen, but it didn't matter. Remember the whole phone call to Ukraine? Remember? And they tried to impeach him and everyone's like, oh, it was bad things. Even the person he was talking to on the other line was like, what? I didn't feel any pressure. When you actually look at those damn things, then you're going to be like, ooh, but you won't because your bigotry, I said your bigotry is so overwhelming that you're just looking for someone to blame for the failures in your life. And unfortunately for us, it is Trump. When you should be looking at a mirror because you, Nancy, are solely responsible for the shithead you've become. You can't pass that buck to Donald Trump. Fucking A. You got roasted. Where's that button? I'm going to do it. You got roasted. Anyway, is Nancy. I'm going to make a shirt too. It's going to be like, F you, Nancy. All right, what else? Someone asked me a question about Top Gun. Have I seen Top Gun? Top Gun was awesome. And it was. And I saw it, and I think it was just as good, if not better, than the first one. So I like that one. Trying to reason or talk with the leftist is pointless. I don't think it's that bad. Nancy is probably probably injected bleach. I don't know what that means. But we have 3 more minutes. Anyone else have anything relative to this conversation? Jody said, and that's why you watch. Yeah, well, see, here's the real thing. Like, if you just enjoyed that right now, send a super chat or a Cash App. April will put it in the chat. My Venmo, not a super chat. Fuck YouTube and don't support them. Send a Venmo at Steve Oatley, all one word. Yeah, seriously. Or a Cash App. Because when you do, Nancy will be in the chat crying her eyes out. It's true. It's scientifically proven. Scientifically proven. For every $10 Cash App or $10 Venmo, Nancy will cry. She will cry. It's true. Someone said they impeached Trump because he didn't give aid like Biden. Yep. Steve, when are you going to do another powerlifting competition? I don't know, man. I'm working so hard right now. I have gone to the gym twice this week, which is pretty good considering today is Wednesday. I didn't get to go today, unfortunately, but I got to go twice this week. So that was good. Someone said F YouTube and Steve's on it. Yes, to me, I don't think, because YouTube doesn't monetize my videos, they don't allow us to actually make a living doing the shows, but we go there for the reach in hopes that we could take you from YouTube and spit you back out on our page, on one of our, our own social media platform or our own live streaming platform, citizenstringer.tv. That is what our goal is. And that's why we're live on YouTube. But YouTube also takes 34% of every super chat that you send in, advertising revenue and all that stuff. Don't be a Nancy t-shirt. Possibly. Someone said Steve Antifa's back. They haven't left. For your Nancy tiers, Cash App, hashtag Freightbroker Live. Oh, what? Right. Oh, shit. Where did it go? Right here. There's April. Cash App, Freightbroker Live, Venmo at Steve Olt. You can see it right there on your chat. It's the best way to support us and support what we're doing here. And like I said, I'll be at the Trump rally. Maybe Nancy will be watching on Saturday. And if you want to support us, you could do that because we need your support to go to different events like this. And if this is a success, right? So if we do, pretty good and we make a decent amount of money, at least to cover the expenses going out there and back, and the time that we're out there, there may be a lot more traveling in the future. There may be a lot more of me just showing up in DC or different new compounds or the border. I really want to go to the border. The border may be in my future. But we need your support to do it. And I need to get above everything else that we're doing here and open the coffee shop and all that stuff. So someone said, buy coffee, badass shirt, quality hoodies and all that stuff. Nancy Miller, we love the conversation here. Yeah, we do. And that's why, some people say you can't argue with them. I'm not trying to argue with them. I want those kind of conversations. I think they're good. So, and I'm glad she did it. Nancy gave another 10-1. Someone said, I hope... this is Nancy again. Said, I hope one day the night will go off. I can watch silly Trump rally watching.
I hope one day the kite will go off. I can watch silly Trump rally. Watching, hearing.
That doesn't make any sense. I hope one day the night will go off. I can watch silly Trump rally. I'm missing what you said. Maybe you should try to type slower, or maybe it's like you're like yelling. You're transcribing to your mom because you live in a basement of your mom's house, and you have to use her card on her YouTube account. So she's really Nancy. Your name is like shithead Mella, right? And so you're down below, and you're like, Mom, send the super chats, and I hope one night it will go off, and you can watch silly Trump rally, watching the hearings. But here's the thing, like with these hearings and all that stuff, with the January 6th hearings, we know more than what's being presented there because we live streamed those hearings. We had 3 camera crews in Washington, D.C. when those hearings went on. I was talking about John Sullivan, the guy that captured the murder footage of Ashley Babbitt that's been charged with 7 federal felonies, but he's out without having to post any bail, the one who sold that murder footage to CNN. I declared that he was a threat in September of 2020. Oh, wait, you're saying, Steve, wait, that's 4 months before this happened. Yep. I had him on my show, in fact. after the riot at January 6th. But I interviewed him. I wrote articles about him because he was a shitty person even before going into there. And I started writing about it because of that. We've been doing this a long time. Nancy, where do you come from? Oh, no, you sounded like Edith Bunker. I don't know who that is. Oh, when I was yelling upstairs? Mom! Yeah. Angry for Hot Pockets. All right. Well, I think this has been enough of a show. This has been an hour and a half, 1 hour, 32 minutes and 11 seconds up until right then. So I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate everyone that's done the Cash Apps and the Venmos and all that stuff because we need it. You know, we don't ask for it like that much. So I appreciate you guys doing it. Dee and Annalisa as well. Like you guys especially because you did some pretty big Venmos, and I really appreciate that. It helps us to be able to do this stuff. But I'm going to get out there more. You know, part of the issue is we're not going to have the big fancy live streaming backpack. We had to cut down on some of those expenses, and that backpack was $2,500 a month. So we're cutting down on some of the expenses. So the live stream quality may not be as great, but we're going to go with the Ford Fisher News to Share, you know, journalism style, where we will run a camera that is recording in 4K, 5K, and we could just upload that should we need to. And then we'll have, you know, our cell phone running Prism and all that with hotspots. And should be good. Should be good. You guys you're in for some stuff, right? Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here and watching this show. And I will see you all tomorrow. Mañana. That's Spanish for tomorrow, Nancy.